Matt Armstrong has built a reputation for doing what manufacturers say can't be done. He rebuilt a crashed Bugatti Chiron without a single official Bugatti part. He fixed a Veyron gearbox that was quoted at $300,000 by replacing a blown fuse that cost him $5 at a hardware store. And now, while he's still wrapping up the Chiron in Florida, he's already hunting for his next project. Matt posted to his Instagram story with a simple message, filmed over footage of the purple Chiron sitting in the workshop. He's still looking for a car in the US. An RS6 or RS7 would be ideal, but he's open to anything interesting, damaged, mechanically failed, or just in bad shape. If you know of something, he wants to hear about it. That's Matt actively scouting his next build while simultaneously completing one of the most ambitious independent rebuilds in automotive history. He's not waiting around. The choice of target isn't random. The Audi RS6 and RS7 are high-performance machines, twin-turbocharged V8 engines, Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system, advanced electronics, and in newer models, integrated mild hybrid systems. They are the kind of cars Audi dealers describe as requiring specialized diagnostic equipment and proprietary repair procedures. According to the official narrative, significant damage to one of these cars means a very expensive trip to an authorized facility. But here's what Matt already knows from the Chiron build. Volkswagen Group shares components across its entire lineup far more aggressively than manufacturers like to advertise. During the Chiron rebuild, Matt discovered that certain Bugatti parts Bugatti refused to supply, citing safety and exclusivity, were, in fact, standard Audi A3 components. The airbags fitted to one of the most expensive cars in the world came off a family hatchback. That revelation was embarrassing for Bugatti, but the lesson applies just as directly to Audi. If the parts infrastructure for an RS6 or RS7 is far more accessible than Audi's dealership pricing would suggest, Matt is going to find out. And he's going to document every step. Matt is already in Florida finishing the Chiron, so sourcing a US-based project makes obvious logistical sense. He has an established workshop, a network of local specialists, and relationships with suppliers he built during the Chiron rebuild. But beyond convenience, the American market offers a real financial advantage for this kind of project. Damaged European luxury cars tend to be significantly cheaper at US salvage auctions than their UK equivalents. Import costs, shipping, and strong domestic demand push UK prices up. A heavily damaged RS6 or RS7 in the States might come in somewhere between $20,000 and $40,000 depending on the nature of the damage. The same car in similar condition in the UK could cost twice that. There's also a regulatory angle. Salvage title laws vary considerably by state in the US, and several states are relatively straightforward when it comes to registering and legally driving a rebuilt salvage vehicle. The UK's insurance write-off category system, particularly Category S and Category B designations, creates more friction for independent rebuilders looking to return a car to road use. For a project that's fundamentally about proving independent repair is viable, having a clearer path to road registration matters. Once completed, Matt has options. Keep the car as a US-based vehicle, ship it back to the UK, or use it as a platform to demonstrate something specific about Audi's service model. All three outcomes make sense given where he is in his broader project. Hours after posting that Instagram story, Matt posted a short video that got people talking. Filmed from inside a vehicle, the clip shows Matt panning across a Lamborghini crashed with a pickup truck outside what appears to be a commercial property somewhere in Florida. The caption, "So, did we just find my daily? Who's the owner?" It's classic Matt Armstrong storytelling. Post the intent publicly, bring the audience into the search, and then let the story unfold in real time. Whether that car turns out to be damaged, mechanically failed, or just sitting neglected, and whether he can track down the owner remains to be seen. But the fact that he filmed it and posted it publicly suggests he's genuinely interested, and the timing speaks for itself. If the car checks out and a deal gets made, this becomes his next US project running alongside the final stages of the Chiron completion. Matt completing the Chiron rebuild wasn't just a personal achievement. It was a public demonstration that contradicted everything Bugatti said about independent repair being impossible outside their authorized network. Bugatti refused to supply parts for the crashed Chiron, citing safety concerns. They refused to release parts for Matt's Veyron unless the car remained at a Bugatti facility for all the work to be carried out by their own technicians. They quoted $300,000 to replace a Veyron gearbox. The actual fault turned out to be a blown fuse. In each case, the position Bugatti took wasn't driven by technical necessity. It was driven by the economics of controlling where and how their cars get serviced. That model, sell the car, then maintain control of the owner through parts restrictions, diagnostic tool limitations, and warranty conditions, is not unique to Bugatti. It is the operating logic of the luxury automotive industry as a whole. Ferrari has historically restricted customers from purchasing certain models if they modify others. Porsche limits parts availability for certain GT variants. Lamborghini ties warranty coverage to dealer servicing. The pattern is consistent. Once you've paid for the car, your practical ability to maintain and repair it on your own terms is deliberately constrained. The justification given publicly is always safety, complexity, or quality control. The actual mechanism is revenue. Dealership service departments and authorized repair networks are significant profit centers, and that profitability depends on customers not having realistic alternatives. Matt's work exposes the gap between the two. The Chiron's supposedly exclusive components were sourced. The chassis work was done independently. The Veyron's supposedly irreparable gearbox was fixed for pocket change. The complexity manufacturers project around their vehicles is real in some respects. These are sophisticated machines, but the impossibility of independent repair is largely manufactured. Skilled builders with time, access to information, and a willingness to work through problems can figure it out. Matt has now proven that twice, on two of the most exclusive cars ever built. An RS6 or RS7 project would extend that proof into a more mainstream segment of the performance market. More people own or aspire to own an RS6 than a Chiron. If Matt documents significant mechanical or structural repairs on one of those cars and demonstrates that Audi's claims about required specialist intervention don't hold up, the audience that cares is considerably larger. There's a principle running through everything Matt does that's worth being direct about. When you buy a car, you legally own it. But ownership in the traditional sense, the ability to use, repair, and maintain something you've paid for through whatever channels you choose, has been systematically eroded in the luxury automotive market. Manufacturers have structured the post-sale experience to preserve their influence over the vehicle long after the transaction is complete. Parts availability, software access, diagnostic tools, and warranty terms are all instruments of that control. Most buyers accept this because they don't see an alternative, and because the manufacturer's framing that these restrictions exist to protect the vehicle and the driver sounds reasonable on the surface. Matt's builds don't just challenge that framing. They disprove it with evidence. He splits the car, fabricates what needs fabricating, sources what can be sourced, and drives the result. The car works. The manufacturer's claimed impossibility doesn't hold. That's why these rebuilds attract the attention they do, and why manufacturers have reason to be uncomfortable with what comes next. It's not that Matt is doing anything aggressive or adversarial. He's simply documenting the process of repairing cars and being transparent about what he finds along the way. The discomfort for manufacturers comes from the fact that transparency, in this context, is damaging to a business model that depends on customers not looking too closely. Right now, Matt is in Florida. The Chiron is close to completion. There's a potential RS6 or RS7 sitting somewhere in the state that might become his next project. He's actively looking, his audience is helping him look, and when he finds the right car, the whole process starts again. The hunt, the purchase, the teardown, the sourcing, the fabrication, the repairs that weren't supposed to be possible, and finally the result. A car back on the road that manufacturers said couldn't be fixed outside their network. Bugatti couldn't prevent the Chiron rebuild. They couldn't stop the Veyron repair. Whatever comes next, the formula has already been proven to work. The question is just which car and which manufacturer gets to be next in line.